All right, hello and welcome to Chem 400 Lab. This is our um, official course lecture, no, excuse me, course lab intro stream. I'm your host, same as lecture. And anyways, I wanted to kind of go over a few structural things pertaining to the lab. There we go. Just so we're all on the same page from the start, you can find all of this information in the syllabus. But I wanted, again, to highlight some things, specific things, and some structural things that are about the way Canvas is kind of built, so you can use it to the best of your advantage throughout the semester. But first, we're gonna go over some course policies. So I'm not gonna talk prereqs, all that stuff. It was all covered in the lecture course intro stream. I wanted to talk specifically about the lab policies, specific things for the lab. The first is one that I actually need to change from the syllabus. This is the lab safety quiz and waiver. So this is something that is I'm changing from the syllabus. The syllabus says that according to the syllabus, this is due on 8/23, which was last Monday. I am changing this to this Saturday. All right, so this is lab safety is a part of this course. It's one of the things that's vital to learn because, knock on wood, this is our last semester of online teaching. Who knows if it will be or not, but we're hoping to transition back to in-person instruction soon. I know I'm looking forward to it. And when we do, it's important that if you passed Chem 400, if you're stepping into Chem 401, into an actual lab, that you understand lab safety, that you know what is correct and the incorrect things to do in lab so that you don't endanger yourself or those around you. So this is an important part of the of the class. But again, the deadline is in the syllabus. It says August 23rd. I just checked on Canvas. It is actually due on the 30th. So you have a little more time to work on that. It's important to note that if you are late, you will be dropped. And I will add a student from the wait list in your spot. So if you want to stay in this class, if you want to stay enrolled, complete the lab safety quiz and waiver and avoid getting dropped. All right, now there are, so as I talked about in the lecture stream, lab is worth 30% of your letter grade. Typically, most students have a higher average in lab than in lecture. So it's fairly typical for a student to have a higher lab grade than lecture grade. And so often I get emails where students will ask me, like, I don't understand. I have a B in lab and I have a D in lecture. Shouldn't I have a C overall? And the answer is no. If it were weighted 50-50, probably, but lab is worth less of your grade than lecture. So just because your lab grade is super high doesn't necessarily mean it's going to jump your overall grade from passing to non-passing. That being said, 30% is not insignificant. The assignments that you'll see in lab and by the way, if anybody watching has questions at any moment, totally ask. I'm down to answer questions at any time. Any questions you may have. There are 2 fundamental lab assignments that you'll be completing this semester. There are lab exercises. Oops. I promise I can spell exercise. And there are lab experiments. All right, the exercises, there are 8 of them, and they are worth 25 points each. And there are 8 of them. The lab experiments are worth 50 points each, and there are 12 of them. All right. One thing that I want to highlight about the lab exercises is some are very long. And you'll be able to find these in Canvas. They're formatted like digital quizzes. Canvas calls them quizzes, but essentially, actually, I need to give myself a little more space to work with here. So they can be very long. What do I mean by very long? I mean, oops, hang on. I mean, they can be over 100 questions. Especially the one that comes to mind that has a lot is the naming one, which I believe is exercise 2. So these can be very long question-wise, and when the number of questions isn't very long, the problems themselves can be very hard at times. So I can't encourage you enough to start these early. Start working on these things early, because if you wait until an hour before they're due, you're probably not going to be able to finish them all the questions on them. So definitely get at those lab exercises early. There's no these are not timed. So these are not timed exams. They open and close. And I believe and that's it. But you can start working on them. You can leave it. You can come back to it a few days later, as long as you don't come back past the what's the word I'm looking for? The due date. And as of right now, the first 7 are available. So due through November. I haven't completely finished building out our Canvas site, but we've got a good heading start. I have a good head start on it. So you can start working on these now. They're all open. You just have to get them, however much you've completed by the due date. That'll be the number of points that you score. Let's see. Okay, so they're not timed. They're very long. Start early. And you can find these in Canvas. Oops. So you can find these in Canvas under modules, or quizzes. Or I should say, maybe not quizzes, but assignments. Yeah. All right, so those are the lab exercises. Let's talk about lab experiments. So these lab experiments are kind of take two forms, actually. All right, lab experiments. These take two forms. There are e-labs. They're all worth the same. There's e-labs, and then there are formal reports. All right, and for the e-lab experiments, you will be using software called Beyond Labs. To do these, and this is not software you have to buy. The department has purchased a license that you can use. There is instructions with the first e-lab, which is e-lab 1, which you should start week 3. You can start it earlier, to be honest, but you'll find it under the week 3 module. You'll find the instructions on how to download, how to activate it, all that stuff on Canvas. For each of the e-labs, well, for each lab in general, there is, so whether it's, well, actually, I'll get to that in a second. For the e-labs, which are these, it's software. You go in, you do a digital experiment in a digital lab, and it's kind of point and click stuff. On completing it, there are 2 things you have to do. There is the experiment quiz, which is worth 15 points. And then there is the experiment worksheet, which is worth 10 points. The experiment quiz, you take in Canvas. I believe they're like 30 minutes. So you take it in Canvas, it's like 30 minutes long. They're not. It's not a situation where you'll be crunched for time, most likely, and it will quiz you on the information that you just did in the experiment and the experiment worksheet. You download. So you fill this out and upload a PDF to Canvas. When you upload a PDF, if you are editing your PDF directly, you can ignore what I'm about to say next, but if you are printing it out and filling it out on paper, when you upload a PDF, you need to use a scanner app like Adobe Scan. Or a similar app. Adobe Scan is free to use on your phone, both iOS and Android, and it just uses your phone camera, even if you have an older phone, to take a high quality image so that it's clear what you've written, so I can grade it appropriately. You don't have to use Adobe Scan. You can use any scanner app. If you already have one that you like, totally go for it. If you've never used a scanner app, download Adobe Scan for free today and use that. So those are how you score the points for the e-labs. For the formal report, you will watch a video of FLC faculty performing the experiment. Let's pick a shorter word. All right, watch a video of FLC faculty doing the experiment, and then for these, you will write a formal lab report. All right, and I will be posting more about that as we get closer to doing our formal write-ups. I believe that, yeah, so the e-labs for this semester are experiments 1 through 5, and then 7 through 8, and then the formal reports are labs 6, 9 through 12. All right, so we still have quite a ways before we hit a formal report. As we get closer to that date, I will post specific guidelines, things to watch for, things about formatting that I'll be grading on as we get closer to doing the formal write-ups. And this part is actually really important because, again, if you're going to be stepping into an actual lab, writing actual reports, whether it's at FLC or when you transfer, this is a skill that you need to know exiting Chem 400. And so we are going to be doing 5 of these where you'll have the experience writing a formal report and anyways, I'll have more specifically on that as we get closer to those dates. So let's see, where were we? All right, so those are the E-Labs. Oh, something that's super important before we leave this topic. All labs must be submitted as a single PDF. All right, all labs must be submitted as a single PDF. Late and drop assignments, there are no late assignments are not accepted. No assignments get dropped. You know the drill if you've seen the lecture stream. All right, the last thing that I want to touch on is just some structural changes that I made to Canvas this semester. And again, our Canvas isn't fully built, but under... Sorry, actually, before I talk about that, I want to touch on, lab pages. So each E-Lab has its own page within the Canvas site. You can find them if you go to Pages in Canvas and then click View All Pages, which is a little button up at the top of the window. That'll take you to an index of all the lab pages. You can also find them under our weekly modules. All right, and that is actually will transition us to the next topic, which is modules. I have done some reorganizing with how I've structured the Canvas site for lab, and I decided to build it this semester using modules. So if you're unfamiliar, modules is a link in the side of Canvas. You'll see home, announcements, assignments, modules. The first module is course resources. All right, that is module number 1. And then from there, we've got there's week 1, week 2, ... all the way down to week 16, well, or it will eventually. The reason why I did this was to make it a little more user-friendly. So you can look at the class schedule in the syllabus that has all the dates and deadlines. I definitely encourage you to read the syllabus, but if you can also choose to turn to the modules, because each module contains links to assignments that are coming due. So, for example, the experiment 1 eLab isn't due until September 15th, but it tells you to go ahead and start working on this during week 3, which September 15th lands in week 4, so you have enough time to complete it. So you'll find the links to exercises, eLab pages, lab worksheets, lab quizzes, and the like there. So I encourage you to use the modules just because it'll help kind of organize your life, keep it structured. You can collapse a module when you've completed it, start doing the rest. I have not finished building our canvas at this moment. I've got the first month locked and loaded. So eLabs 1 and 2 are both available. Through actually exercise 7, I believe, is available. But I'm going to be building this out more as we move through the semester, but we got about a 1 month head start. All right, that is all I have. If there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here. Hopefully you'll find this interesting. I'm going to link this in under our course resources, so you can access it there, watch at your convenience. But yeah, take it easy, and I will catch you all in